Fairy tales, cartoons, and movies depict castle living like an awesome place, lavish feasts, grand festivals, and the good life for nobles. But here's the reality check. Castles were more like dark, dank fortresses, teeming with vermin and disease. In this exploration, we peel back the fantasy to reveal the gritty truth about medieval castle living. Imagine a world without plumbing, where running water and flushing toilets were distant dreams. Waste collected in cesspools beneath the toilets, turning every castle into a giant porta-potty. The stench was unbearable, and without running water, baths were a luxury reserved for the super-rich. Servants smelling ripe as gym bags couldn't afford medicine, so illnesses ran rampant. Privacy? Forget about it. Going to the bathroom meant doing your business on a long wooden bench in full view of everyone. No flushing, just a drop into a pit of horrors. Castles were essentially tiny, cramped cities serving the needs of a single ruling family. And dungeons, those infamous castle features. Sure, they held criminals and political opponents, but what movies skip is the gruesome reality of routine torture. Hungry rats, feasting on prisoners from the inside out, were a popular method. Just a casual medieval horror show. Rats weren't just dungeon dwellers, they infested castles. No modern traps or pest control meant accepting rat infestation as normal, despite the constant fear and the fact that rats once carried a plague that wiped out half of Europe. To cope with this dismal reality, castle dwellers often turned to alcohol. Lords and ladies sipped fine wines, but servants took what they could get. Alcohol was safer than water, as contamination was rampant. The lords might sleep in, but servants had to rise with the sun, as electricity didn't exist, and sunlight was crucial for daily tasks. Contrary to popular belief, people in medieval times liked baths as much as we do today. Clean water was scarce, though. Plumbing, or the lack thereof, was a significant hurdle. Tubs were giant wooden buckets carried from room to room, hardly hygienic or private, but at least a chance to scrub off some castle funk. Cold stone, lack of insulation, and few windows, castles weren't exactly cozy. Servants often lived in frigid, lightless quarters, perfect breeding grounds for diseases. Sleeping outside might seem preferable at this point. Despite the hardships, life in a castle was eventful. Celebrations, festivals, and entertaining noble guests meant extravagant meals were the norm. Cooks spent all day preparing feasts, only to have a meager meal in the kitchen. The Great Hall hosted these meals, with seating determined by status. Lords and ladies enjoyed gourmet dishes, while servants tucked into simpler fare at the far end of the table. Peasants, comprising over 85% of the town's population, weren't allowed inside the castle. They worked the land for the lord but had to feed themselves. Lords and ladies governed the land, leaving the day-to-day tasks and maintenance to a vast staff of servants. It wasn't an easy job for anyone, but at least the lords and ladies got occasional breaks. A feast of flames and filth. Castles, as we've established, were essentially reeky stone garbage heaps. To combat the filth, rushes, reeds, and herbs covered the floors, absorbing spills and masking odors. Imagine walking through a castle. Everywhere you go, you're treading on a layer of barely concealed filth. It's like living in a medieval dorm room. Before microwaves and George Foreman grills, all cooking was done over open flames. In the first half of the Middle Ages, kitchens were inexplicably built from wood, leading to constant fire hazards. Stone kitchens with hearths containing cook fires only came later. Chapels alongside the Great Hall defined castles. Every castle had an on-site chapel for morning mass, a two-story spectacle in fancy castles, allowing the lord and lady to literally look down on the servants. The glamour of medieval hierarchy. Living in a castle was tough, even in the best-case scenario. The best part? Let's say it wasn't a walk in the castle garden. You had rushes concealing filth, kitchens on the brink of combustion, and a chapel that doubled as a hierarchy observatory. What a time to be alive, right? Unveiling the dark comedy of castle living. As we've uncovered the grim realities of castle life, picture the never-ending effort to keep things clean. Spreading rushes, reeds, and herbs across the floor was like hiding a crime scene. Switching out old rushes was akin to moving a body, revealing a mess of beer, grease, fragments, bones, and more nastiness. Castles, essentially giant basements, left no corner untouched by filth. In a world without modern conveniences, cooking over open flames posed constant fire risks. Kitchens, initially constructed from wood, were tinderboxes waiting for a stray ember to ignite a medieval barbecue. Stone kitchens and hearths came later, likely thanks to a surge in insurance claims. Every castle boasted an on-site chapel where the lord and lady could attend morning mass. The chapel, along with the Great Hall, shaped the castle's layout. In fancy castles, the chapel was a two-story marvel, allowing the ruling class to literally look down on the servants. Nothing says medieval chic like a multi-level chapel to reinforce social hierarchy. The Middle Ages weren't a joyride. Even the best-case scenario of living in a castle was a comedy of miseries. Rushes conceal filth, kitchens were potential infernos, and chapels doubled as hierarchy observatories. Castle life was a dark comedy, and we're just scratching the surface. How would you fare in a medieval castle? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some more untitled history from our channel. Let's face it, reality is often stranger than fiction, especially when it involves castles and their peculiar quirks.